Good evening. How everyone doing today? God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma Jill Spirit Divine. I'm here to give you a word on today. On the topic gonna be God break us to make us. Sometimes when you're in your stone, especially at the beginning, you broken into pieces. And that's how God will break you into pieces, and then he'll make us, he'll turn you into the person that he wants you to be. And a lot of times you get clarity a lot of time in your pain and suffering and your brokenness. Let's look at Genesis 32:24, verse 26. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him to daybreak. So when the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. So then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go until you bless me." And so, and even though the man had to touch his socket for him to let go, and he still said, "I'm not going to let you go until you bless me." You know, God hadn't broke his side, but he still was holding on. Because sometimes God will break you into pieces. To get your attention, to break you to what the kind of person He wants you to do to pursue your mission. So this package that God will break us to make us. God will break you into pieces. To be what He wants us to be, to perceive the will of God, and then put you back together. you know, because after God break you into pieces, He will put you right back together. He will give you peace in your stone, and you will go on with life. You ain't gonna forget, but you're not gonna drill on what you done went through. And He'll give you that peace. He will give you that healing after you done been so broken. You know, so there are two reasons I have why God will break you. Two reasons. The first one, if God give you a mission and you don't attain it, He will break you until you are broken. And God had give Jacob a mission. He saw God on that ladder up to heaven. That's when God had spoke to him. To do what he had not do. So when God came in person, and wrestled with Jacob because he refused to let go, God put his socket out of place. He had to break him. God had to hunt him down. So God had a conversation with him when he saw that ladder. You know, Jacob been was supposed to get that mission started with the Israelite. Jacob was the third link. And he did not proceed when God had to put his plan in Joseph, so Joseph can get it moving. So the second one, when God have a mission for you to do, sometime He will break you to make you what He wants you to be, to pursue your mission. Because some of us, you have a different. Everybody have a different mission. It depends on what kind of mission you have. It might be a tough one. You might have to be toughened up. So sometimes He have to break you into pieces. To proceed certain mission that you will have to proceed. So not all the time you will go through trial because you and follow His instructions. Sometimes you will have to go through your trials. It depends on what kind of mission God's sending you on to. That you might have to be toughened up. So that's you know most people might have more of why God break you, but these are two that I have. If you don't proceed your mission when God asks you to, command you to, you know, uh, He will break you, and then also He will break you if the what kind of mission that He's sending you on to. Everybody has different mission that He's sending you on. You know, you might have to be tough enough. So that's the two reasons that I have. It may be more. So this package will come from Genesis chapter 32, 22, verse 30, of 22 to 32. Now we are God's sheep. God is our shepherd, and we are His sheep. Time and time, He may have to discipline us. Punish us. In a way. that he have to break us, to make us, to stay in line. The same way you have to discipline a sheep. A good shepherd will show tough love. So when a sheep refuses to follow, the shepherd breaks the sheep to make sure the sheep always follows the shepherd. So that's what God do sometimes. That's what he had to do with Noah. He had given Noah a mission. He refused. He didn't want to see the people get saved. And that's another thing. No matter how you dislike somebody, no matter if someone is your enemy, when God give you a mission and it have to do with people that you're not fond of, or you don't want to see them get blessed, you have to do it anyway. You know, Jonah didn't want to see the people get blessed. He wanted to see God punish them. You know, and you have to always follow. So this when Jacob had flee from his home to be sheep. So this was right after he had flee home, to escape from his brother from stealing his birthright. So Jacob flee and he found a wife in Haran. So now Jacob on his journey, on his way to his uncle house. Remember the mom had sent him to her brother's house. You go over there till everything died down, running from his brother. So he encountered God at a place called Bethel and saw a stairway, leading to heaven. So this when God had this conversation with him. That was the day when God gave him a mission to do, for Jacob to do, and he did not proceed. So when he left the conversation from God, that when he was supposed to proceed. He was the third link. He was the last one of the link to get this journey started. Because Abraham got too old. You know, um, Isaac hadn't got too old. So God always has step one, step two, step three plan. And Jacob was the third link. He was the last one. And then it's the lingering on, and God watching him just lingering on. So God had to hunt him down to find out why you're not doing what I had asked you to do. So now years later, Jacob left Haran along with his family. So one night he found himself, alone. So at this Solomon place, God in form of a man, sought out Jacob. So God wanted to make Jacob into a different person. So he took dramatic action. This is the first time I'm hearing that God took action on himself, wrestling with someone, so you don't want to play with God, so he initiated a match that lasted from dusk dawn to dawn. Jacob refused to give up, so a man, which is God, broke Jacob, touching his hip so that he'll walk with a limp for the rest of his life. He was a sheep, and that's what they do. A sheep, they break their leg, or they break something for them to follow. So now Jacob was God's sheep, did not want it to follow. And God himself had to come in an image of a man to break Jacob, him to be the man he want him to be. Sometimes God would discipline us, and God broke Jacob hip for life, from being disobedient. So and down the line, he had to get the mission to Joseph. He had to put the mission on Joseph. Then he had to touch the brother's heart to throw it was a mission for him to be thrown in the sheep in the pit, to get the journey started. Because Jacob he allowed it to linger on until he got old when he was supposed to proceed way back to get the God plan started. So the people would become bitter. God had broke his hip, but he still wasn't bitter. He still wasn't mad towards God. Many people would have become bitter and would have turned away from God, for breaking them. But Jacob clinged to God, saying, I will not let you go until you bless me. Now he didn't get mad. He just held on. He said, I'm not gonna let you go until you bless me. God hadn't broke him. And he still was holding on, still making demands. So we may think that a God of love, and see, we all think that. I did at the beginning, God loved all of us. And for us to be going through, we go through the first thing we say, man, I thought God loved us. Why are we going through? And that's what Jacob's saying here. Jacob said, we may think that God of love would never allow his children to feel any pain. But we the main ones that suffer so much pain. Look at all his prophets. All this prophet. We go through so much pain. We the one go through the more pain than anyone. Anybody. So look at all his prophets. Look at Elijah. Elijah went through so much. Every time he doing the will of God, they want to kill him. He had to flee multiple times. Look at David. David was so good what he did. So Saul was just so jealous. Every time you look around, David had to keep on fleeing. And sometimes you don't have to do nobody enough. Some people can just be jealous of you because you do things so well. Because if you got God, see, God's spirit was in David, and it removed from Saul. So everything God had told him, everything you touch, you're gonna be successful in it. And that's how David was. Everything David did, he was successful in it. And Saul was mad. Every time you look around, he wants to kill David. David had to keep on running in caves. Every time you look around, Elijah preaching that word from God. They wants to kill him, and Elijah had to keep on fleeing. It just go on and on. So we know it with David, we know with Elijah. And we also who else we had? John. John spoke the will of God, told him what's wrong and what's right. And just I forgot the girl name, but she hold a grudge against John for a long time until she found the way how she was gonna get John and put his head on a platter. So as prophets, we suffer the most. But we know God love us, and that's what Jacob said. The God that love. We'll never know why he allowed us to go through so much pain. But God always break us to make us a better person. You got to be broken, for God to make us. And after we done changed, I done changed and grown a whole lot in my stuff. After God feel like if God see that you where he wants you to be at, then he give you peace. He give you healing. He'll turn everything around. So we see that all the disciples, all his prophets, we suffer so much pain, and you wonder how God love us and allow us to go through the pain, but God allowed it. Look at Job. Job was broken into pieces. He was just bending all over. Nobody didn't know who he was. He was broken. I was at the beginning. I was so broken. I was just into pieces, and I'm still not 100%. I'm still halfway broken. But at the beginning, I was so broken. I was broken into pieces. Job was broken into pieces. When God realized that you done had enough, and he see that you at the place that he wants you to be, then he give you that peace. He give you that healing. But sometimes God will break us to make us better and still love us at the same time. That's just like our children. When we whoop our children to discipline them, we still love them. We don't just like them because we whoop them. So when God chastises us, it's still love. When we whoop our kids, it's still love. So it's the same thing. It's discipline. Um, He's our shepherd and we are his sheep. Now, he may break our heart or our hip so we can so we will make room. So we can make room for him there. Because see, a lot of time, if we not broken, if we don't go through nothing, we not gonna pray like we're supposed to be praying to God. So a lot of time, God will break us, to make us. And you have to make room for him, to keep on praying, no matter good days or bad days. He gonna break you so bad. So when you have good days, you still gonna remember the time that you was broken. That you gonna stay in line. I'm gonna sit up straight. You gonna stay in line. Because he gonna break in a way that you're gonna stay follow him and still command follow his command. So one, we may break out he may break our heart or our hip, but we have to make room for him. You know, just like Daniel. Daniel was praying 3 times a day, and he got set in a lion's den. You know, God wants us to make room for Him in our life and in our heart. You know, too. We may break, we may break our will, so we may discover His will for us. And just how that when you're on your journey, just like at the beginning, I ain't knew anything. You know, but all the brokenness, all the brokenness and stuff that I went through, I done went through multiple purpose through brokenness. You know, sometimes you see things clearly what God trying to do in your life. You know, sometimes you see clearly in your brokenness. You know, I went to so many purpose through brokenness. You know, so He will break you, so you could discover His will for us. You know, I discovered a whole lot of stuff in my brokenness. You know, so three, He may break our physical strength so we could discover that God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. You know, and sometimes He will break you, and then He'll turn around and do miracles to let you know you got weakness and God work miracles in your weakness. You know, God get glory on your weakness. You know, um, Second Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. You know, therefore I will burst all to more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. You know, God works better in our weakness. You know, uh, Psalms 51:17. You know, a sacrifice, oh God, is a broken spirit. You know, a broken and contrived heart. You, God, will not despise. You know, because God separate when you in your weakness. He will help you in your weakness. You know, you'll just discover so much in your brokenness. You know, and um, now years later, now Jacob responds to God's tough love. You know, is to cling to Him and pray. You know, see, like God broke him. He was in brokenness. You know, broke his hip. You know, but he still did not turn his head against God. You know, he still wanted to cling to God, and Jacob still was praying to God, because Jacob responded to God's tough love. He said, "Is to cling to Him and pray. You know, I will not let you go unless you bless me." You know, so that's the words that Jacob said. Jacob said, even though when God break you, don't turn your back away from Him. You know, don't turn your back away from Him. You know, you got to still cling to God, and you still got to pray. You know, because you turn your back on and you mad, because see, God not worried about us being mad with Him. You know, because your life can be taken. You know, every morning you wake up is a blessing that God still have your life. You know, so when God break you and you get mad and you say you don't want to deal with God no more, that's the change you're gonna have to take. You know, so that's why Jacob said, no matter when God break you, you still got to cling to Him. You still got to pray. To save your life. Because um we not doing God no favor. So God not worrying about us being mad and turning our back towards Him because He chastises us. Our children do that. You whoop them, they stay mad with you for days and stuff. But it's still tough love, tough love. And sometimes just tough love means brokenness, but after He gets you to the person that He wants you to be, He'll give you healing. He will give you peace in your soul, So now years later, when God had talked with Jacob, God had to hurt him down. God had to hunt him down, because God gave him a mission. Then God seen him, he just living his life. And then he's getting older and older each year. Time was passing, so God had to hunt him down. And God is the shepherd who had to discipline his sheep. God had to discipline Jacob. Jacob was his sheep, showing tough love. And sometimes God may have to break us to make us better, break us to make us, to be what He wants us to be, a better person to do His mission, you know, or sometimes break us to discipline us. Like I said, it was two reasons. It depends on what your purpose is. You might have to be toughened up, You know, so sometimes he will have you going through the trials and stuff like that, having you broken, you know, because you have to be tough depending on what kind of mission he's sending you on. You know, so sometimes when you're going through your trials and you're going through so much pain and suffering, don't always think that God is coming at you. Sometimes you have to go through it because depending on your trials. And then sometimes you're going through it, you know, so it's two options that you have to think about. You know, if God give you something to do and you he has not done it and you gone through so much pain and suffering and it's not go away, these are two options you have to look at, you know. So that's all the word I have for you on today. And remember, God is the shepherd and we are his sheep. And so God all the time will show tough love. You know, he will break us to make us. You know, you'll be broken down into pieces, but you'll get so much clarity in that brokenness. You know, and God works so better in your weakness. But see, when you in that brokenness, you know, you cannot turn your back away from God because you feel like you're mad. You know, because but then you putting your life in jeopardy. Just like Jacob said, he still was praying. He still was clinging to God. You know, and that was anybody else. God broke their hip and did this and that. They'll be mad and turn away from God. You know, and Jacob was saying, don't do that. Keep on praying. You know, because sometimes he have a reason. You know, he is a mysterious God that he does things and he have a reason for everything that he does. You know, and he broke Jacob for Jacob, well, he still didn't do the mission, you know, but God had to step in with his son. So he still went through the bloodline. You know, it had to go through the bloodline because he done all that for Abraham. You know, so it's still the job still got done. You know. So I hope y'all have a blessed day and I see y'all in the next video.